there's so many, again, effects of the stress on the DNA, but just to kind of give you two quick examples. Each DNA strand has this protective casing. It's called a telomere. Every time a cell divides and transforms, it will lose some of that telomere, some of that protective envelope, so to speak. Normally, our body should be able to replace that and keep that cell safe. When stress hits through so many chemical changes and hormonal storm, that process doesn't happen anymore. And now you have a cell that might not only divide the wrong way, but also have rather pro-inflammatory functions. And that cell might not even know that it's supposed to be a liver cell or a kidney cell, kind of lose that role. Another thing that it's been documented seen with chronic stress exposure is that the stress can modify the DNA methylation system, and in turn will cause some gene expression. The whole methylation system is so important for detox and for our hormonal and nervous system balance. So it's easy to see how this in turn will cause so many illnesses, including some of the serious mental illnesses like depression and paranoia and schizophrenia and all of that. So just these two things alone will, impact so much our health. First of all, I would like to say that if you're going to wait until the end of the day in order to kind of deal with your stressful day, you might have already lost the battle. So I need everybody to think about breaking up the day and maybe do a little bit of 2 minutes breathing exercise anytime you have some sort of crazy event or crazy emotion coming your way, or somebody just really made you angry. Breathing exercise, any kind of breathing exercise, but just doing the 4-7-8 breathing exercise that Dr. Andrew Weil loves, it's such an easy tool, I would say, for everybody, right? You can just, nobody will know you're doing it. You can do it wherever you are. And it really helps your body relax and bring down that sympathetic high drive, tells your body, hey, you're not going through a fight. It's cool. You can chill. So that'll be one thing that anybody can do.
And can we, Dr. Dana, can we just briefly kind of like explain to the patients what it is so they can do it?
Yes. So what you do, you take a deep breath in while you're counting, you head up to 4, and then you hold your breath for 7, and then it's a deep exhale while you're counting down to 8. So 4, hold it for 7, and deep breath, breathing for up to count of 8. And you just do it maybe 3-4 times. If you need it, longer than that, that's perfectly fine. But that works, amazingly. Yes, that was a very interesting question, but I think a very important one because, and I think out of all those 3 that you mentioned, I would say in my view, intention is, maybe the most important one because that's how everything starts, right? We have so much information available, whether it's from family and internet and doctors. But if you're not intentional about selecting what applies to you and actually start somewhere and start applying those, 3 theories that you have available, those 3 pieces of information, obviously it's just nothing is gonna happen. So we really have to be intentional with our day and make sure you allow that time for those healing therapies to happen, because we're talking about healing here. The attention part is, from my medical perspective, is that you really, or I see it as a reminder that we really have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to how we feel. We have to pay attention, recognize early signs of burnout, and that obviously applies to caregivers. Early signs of maybe upcoming illness. You just have to pay attention, and not only to the body, obviously, but the brain as well. And attitude, attitude is everything. We all know, the saying, we do not control what is around us, what happens around us, who is directly maybe, especially for cancer patients. I think that many times they have to go through so many treatments, right, and surgeries, and from my experience with cancer patients, at some point they feel like they almost lost control of their life because everything is just gone. It's all about this diagnosis, and having or relearning that there's still a person in you. There's a person who can or choose to change the attitude and change how you react to what's happening around you, and have that mindset of, yes, I might not be able to control what happens around me, but I can definitely control how I react to it. And with all these therapies that we have available, breathing exercise and everything else that we're going to talk about, there is always at least one thing that they can choose and practice, a therapy that will find helpful to just shift that attitude towards hope, towards I can do this, I can cope with this, I'll get through it. Yes, I mean, absolutely. If you as a caregiver don't feel well, don't feel like doing one more thing, you're not able to have that compassion anymore, it's not gonna obviously benefit your loved one, the person you care the most about, right? And sometimes the burnout signs for caregivers are so subtle they might not even realize, and it could be just a sleep disturbance, or it could be headaches, and most of the time, again talking about attention, people will not notice, but it will affect the well-being not only of the caregiver but also the actual cancer patients. And for the cancer patients is having this well-being component and feeding their brain and body with positive energy, the nutritious food, again going back to all the basics, it just makes wonders for their healing and for their mood and for their um, really emotional intelligence piece. And I've seen it again and again with all my patients.